USA Basketball has done it again. Another moment, another decision, another massive fail for women's hoops. And at the center of the chaos, the one person they keep treating like a problem instead of the greatest gift the sport has ever gotten is Cait Clark. Welcome back to Her Hoops, where we break down the truth behind the drama the mainstream refuses to touch. And today? Today we need to talk about how USA Basketball somehow managed to disrespect Cait Clark twice in the same year.
Let's talk about USA Basketball. Did a video yesterday afternoon, late, that Cait Clark is among a number of participants that's headed to the senior training camp for Team USA. Now, I would assume, right? They've learned all kinds of lessons after failing to put Cait Clark on Team USA during the Olympics. By the way, of which the guy that runs the 2028 Olympics.
And why this latest move exposes a broken system that still doesn't understand how to grow women's basketball. Because here's what happened. USA Basketball released their official graphic announcing the athletes invited to the new training camp. A massive moment. A chance to rebuild trust after leaving the most popular female athlete on planet Earth off the Olympic roster. A decision so embarrassing that even the head of the 2028 Olympics and Adam Silver said publicly, yeah, they blew it.
So the Team USA team has been picked for their current camp, and it's considering the guarantees, as in your ages, your fees, your stewies aren't going to be there. It's not a bad group. It's not a bad group. And one thing that I do like is that they've got the young stars in. They've got you're bringing in, which is a key. You're bringing Juju Watkins there just to be a part of the program. They fucked up with Cait Clark, and I think they know they fucked up.
But instead of doing the obvious, the logical, the one slam dunk marketing move that every human with a pulse would have made, they dropped a poster without Cait Clark. Let me repeat that. A global superstar, the most watched women's basketball player alive. The only reason half the country even tuned into the WNBA this year was not on the poster. They put Kelsey Plum, they put Kalia Copper, they maybe put Chelsea Gray, depending on who you ask.
Also said, do you want to grow the sport? Does I said NBC should have been furious that she was not on the Olympic team. They might have shattered potentially actual Olympic basketball records, maybe outside of the old Dream Team kind of records, right? Back when television ratings in general were just higher because there was no streaming services, yada, yada, yada. But you get my point.
But no Cait Clark, not even as the fourth face, not even in the corner, nothing. And fans lost it. Not just WNBA fans, not just Iowa fans, but global audiences, Olympic audiences, casual sports fans, and even veteran journalists like Christine Brennan, who flat out said it. USA Basketball learned nothing. And honestly, she's right. This isn't just a missing picture. This is a pattern, a culture problem, a refusal to accept that Cait Clark is women's basketball right now.
World Cup team, I think the guarantee, this could be their World Cup team. This very well could be their World Cup team. There's a possibility that Aja and Stewie and Fee just say, fuck it, we don't care about the World Cup. If I'm not, I think they all went to the World Cup last time, but they brought Shakira Austin to the last World Cup, which is kind of mad looking back on it. Players that I'm surprised to not see here. I'm surprised to not see Ariel Atkins. I'm surprised to see Veronica Burton. As good as she was, I'm surprised to see her. I'm really surprised to see Lauren Betts.
And without her, viewership collapses. So today, we're breaking down exactly what this graphic means, why fans are furious, and how USA Basketball's obsession with protecting feelings is hurting the sport more than any missed jump shot ever could. Stick around, because this gets even uglier. And if you're new here, hit like and subscribe to Her Hoops, where we bring you the real story behind the headlines.
I don't understand. And when I did my video last night, I had not seen this. Shit, I got up this morning and I seen it now. And we'll get to the reaction. By the way, heads up, Christine Brennan's the one that really caught my eye on this. And, just to put it out there, other hand. Right there, that's Christine Brennan's book, Cait Clark book. It's a damn good book. Go buy it. But she brought this to everybody's attention, right? This is so interesting.
To understand why this latest USA basketball blunder feels like a slap in the face, you have to go back to the decision that started it all, the moment that shifted the entire relationship between fans and the people running women's hoops, the 2024 Olympic roster disaster. For months, the narrative was crystal clear. Caitlin Clark wasn't just a rookie, she was a phenomenon. She was the engine behind record-breaking TV ratings. She was the reason WNBA arenas suddenly looked like NBA arenas. She was the crossover star who brought millions of new fans into women's basketball. Men, women, families, kids, international viewers, everyone. And yet, when the Olympic roster dropped, her name wasn't there. Instead, fans watched a 42-year-old Diana Taurasi, who barely saw the court, make the team. They watched the same veterans who had already had their Olympic moments get recycled again and again, while the biggest needle mover the sport has ever seen got told to wait her turn. And it didn't matter how many excuses USA Basketball tried to float. Fans didn't buy it. Sponsors didn't buy it. Even NBC, who paid for Olympic broadcast rights, reportedly hated the decision because it destroyed what could have been the most-watched women's basketball event in history. Ratings dropped. Engagement plummeted. People literally boycotted Team USA games out of frustration. And that's not a theory. That was trending news. So here we are now, months later, and USA Basketball has a chance to make things right. A chance to reset. A chance to show fans they finally get it. Instead, what do? They put out a training camp roster graphic that somehow manages to feel even more intentional, even more ignorant, and even more disconnected from reality. Because this isn't about just a picture. This is about a long pattern of the people at the top refusing to acknowledge what the rest of the world already knows. Caitlin Clark is the face of women's basketball. Not copper, not plum, not a random assortment of players who don't move the needle. Caitlin Clark is the name that brings the audience. And yet USA Basketball keeps acting like acknowledging her is some kind of threat, rather than the biggest opportunity women's hoops has ever had. And that's why fans are furious. This is where everything comes into focus. Because once you look closely at how USA Basketball operates, you start to see a pattern that's impossible to ignore. The truth is simple. Every time they face a moment where they could elevate the sport, empower new fans, and embrace the generational momentum Caitlin Clark brings, they make the opposite choice. And this training camp roster graphic was just the latest example. They didn't just forget her. They didn't accidentally overlook her. They chose not to include the one player who moves the culture. And fans recognized it instantly. Even journalist Christine Brennan, someone who's been covering Olympic sports for 4 decades, called out USA Basketball for failing to understand the basic responsibility of a national governing body. Winning medals is one mission. Growing the sport is the other. And right now, USA Basketball is failing at the second one spectacularly. The reaction online said it all. Fans weren't confused, they were angry. Comment after comment asked the same question. How do you promote women's basketball without showing the biggest star in women's basketball? People pointed out the hypocrisy. They highlighted the jealousy. They called out the quiet resentment inside the system that still hasn't figured out how to handle someone who blows up the sport so fast that the old hierarchy can't keep up. And maybe that's the heart of it. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's a disruptor, a ratings force, a cultural phenomenon. Someone who doesn't fit the boxes the gatekeepers built years ago. USA Basketball's actions, or lack of actions, reveal how uncomfortable they are with that reality. Because if the goal is truly to grow the game, the marketing strategy is obvious. One face belongs front and center. One name draws the attention. One athlete has the global reach that sponsors, networks, and fans respond to on instinct. Yet instead of embracing her, they keep sidelining her, minimizing her, downplaying her. It's becoming a pattern that's too consistent to pretend it's accidental. And this graphic was the clearest signal yet. The people running USA Basketball still don't understand who's actually carrying the sport. What makes this moment explode from simple frustration into full-blown outrage is what happened after the graphic went public. Because USA Basketball didn't just release a tone-deaf poster, they reacted to the backlash in a way that made everything look even worse. As fans began pointing out the glaring absence of Caitlin Clark, the conversation surged across social media. Comment sections filled instantly. Quote tweets piled up. Christine Brennan's post alone crossed hundreds of thousands of views. The narrative was spinning out of control, and USA Basketball clearly saw it. Instead of engaging, owning the mistake, or even just acknowledging the reaction, they pulled themselves out of the conversation. They didn't delete the main post. They didn't issue a statement. They didn't clarify the choice. They simply backed away from the replies and let the fire burn. That silence spoke louder than the graphic itself. It told fans exactly what they didn't want confirmed. That this wasn't an oversight. It wasn't a glitch. It wasn't a social media intern forgetting a face. It was a choice rooted in the same insecure, outdated thinking that left Caitlin Clark off the Olympic team. And people made that connection instantly. Everywhere you looked, fans, journalists, and even former players were calling out the hypocrisy. They pointed out the double standard. They highlighted how the same organizations begging for more visibility keep sabotaging themselves by refusing to embrace the one player who guarantees it. Some fans took it even further, saying out loud what many have whispered for months, that the people running women's basketball are stuck trying to protect egos instead of promoting excellence. That they're threatened by Caitlin's popularity, her reach, her impact, and her ability to overshadow players who've been in the system for years. Let's start with the roster itself. This training camp group is a blend of veterans, rising stars, and young talent. On paper, it's fine, but the details reveal everything. When you see players like Kelsey Plum, Kalia Copper, Jackie Young, and Chelsea Gray featured front and center, players who have been in the system for years, it becomes clear that USA Basketball is still prioritizing seniority over impact, loyalty over logic, familiarity over growth. And the Caitlin Clark situation exposes that philosophy perfectly. Her status isn't about being young. It isn't about being new. It isn't even about whether she makes the roster. It's about the undeniable, measurable, statistical influence she has on the sport. Her presence breaks records. Her absence tanks ratings. Journalists have documented this. Networks have verified it. Advertisers know it. The entire world has seen it. A Caitlin Clark game draws 2, 3, 4 times the audience of any other game. And yet the people running USA Basketball behave as if her popularity is some kind of inconvenience rather than the engine driving the entire basketball conversation in America right now. Then there's the internal tension, the part fans feel but rarely see. Coaches who spent their careers in an era without superstars of this magnitude. Veteran players who are used to being the face of the team. Executives afraid of losing control of the narrative. Gatekeepers who want to maintain the same power structures they built decades ago. Caitlin Clark disrupts all of that. She doesn't just bring attention, she changes the ecosystem. She shifts who gets coverage. She changes who sponsors want. She changes who fans connect with. She changes who the world sees as the leader of women's basketball. And not everyone in power is comfortable with that. Some see her as opportunity, others see her as threat. This graphic, as small as it looks, was a window into that insecurity. Because if USA Basketball truly embraced the future, her face would have been the first one they posted. Instead, they showed the world exactly how resistant they still are to change. The fallout from this isn't just a social media argument or a minor PR blunder. This moment has real consequences for women's basketball, for the WNBA, for Team USA, and for the sport globally. Every time USA Basketball sidelines Caitlin Clark, whether intentionally or through bureaucratic blind spots, they are sending a message. Popularity, influence, and the ability to grow the game aren't valued as much as politics, legacy, and internal comfort. That's a message fans notice immediately. Ratings notice it. Sponsors notice it. Think about the 2024 Olympics. Viewership collapsed when Caitlyn wasn't on the roster. People literally boycotted games. That's money lost, exposure lost, momentum lost. Yet instead of learning from that disaster, the same mistakes are being repeated. The same pattern is emerging in this new training camp announcement. It also has a psychological impact on the athletes. Young players look at this and wonder, if someone as dominant, popular, and marketable as Caitlin Clark can be minimized, what does that say about the opportunities for anyone else? It sends a chilling signal that talent alone isn't enough, that the hierarchy is still gatekeeping who gets celebrated. And the cultural implications go even deeper. Caitlin Clark isn't just a star, she's a global ambassador for women's basketball. She brings attention to a sport that struggles for visibility compared to the NBA. Every missed opportunity to highlight her is a missed opportunity to expand the fan base, draw in sponsors, and inspire a new generation of players worldwide. USA Basketball's repeated missteps also feed into the broader conversation about double standards in women's sports. While men's basketball gets the luxury of leveraging their biggest stars for marketing and exposure without hesitation, women's basketball is still struggling with internal resistance to spotlighting its top talent. The message is painfully clear. The system fears the very thing that could save it: superstar appeal. And for fans watching, it's exhausting. You want to support your national team, but the people running it keep making choices that feel personal, petty, and completely disconnected from the reality of the sport. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player, she's a movement. Ignoring her doesn't just hurt her, it hurts the entire ecosystem of women's basketball. This is why what happens in December matters. It isn't just a training camp, it's a test. A test of whether USA Basketball will finally align with reality, or whether they'll continue down a path that risks alienating fans, diminishing ratings, and undercutting the growth of women's hoops globally. So here we are, staring down another moment where USA Basketball has a choice. And if history is any guide, it won't be the bold one. Caitlin Clark isn't just another player, she's the player. The global superstar whose name alone drives audiences, creates narratives, and generates excitement that the WNBA and Team USA have been chasing for decades. Yet time and time again, the people in charge treat her like she's an inconvenience rather than the engine of the sport. The graphic, the silent backlash, the calculated distance from fans' outrage. It's all part of the same pattern. A pattern that says, louder than any press release or official statement, we don't want to put Caitlin front and center, even if she's the reason anyone is paying attention. And let's be honest, the stakes are huge. This isn't just about one poster or one training camp. This is about the growth of women's basketball in the US and around the world. It's about ratings. It's about sponsorships. It's about inspiring the next generation of athletes who need to see that excellence is rewarded, not ignored. When the system sidelines its brightest star, it's sabotaging itself. But here's the silver lining. The fans have spoken. Social media, sports journalists, and everyday basketball lovers are calling it out. They see the truth. They understand the value Caitlin brings, and they won't let the gatekeepers bury it quietly. Every time USA Basketball ignores her, the backlash only reinforces her importance. And that's why this story is far from over. When Caitlin hits the court in December for the senior training camp, all eyes will be on her. Fans, analysts, and critics alike will measure the difference she makes, and the contrast between her impact and the people trying to downplay it will be undeniable. If USA Basketball refuses to fully embrace her now, it won't just be a mistake, it will be a monumental failure of vision, strategy, and leadership. At the end of the day, Caitlin Clark is women's basketball. Every conversation about ratings, fan engagement, and global attention inevitably comes back to her. Ignoring that fact is a luxury USA basketball cannot afford if they actually want to grow the sport. So here's the truth. Keep watching, keep paying attention, and don't let them get away with underestimating the most influential player in women's hoops history. Caitlin Clark is not just a name on a roster. She's a movement, and the world is watching. If you want the real, no-nonsense coverage of women's basketball drama, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to Her Hoops. Every story, every scandal, and every triumph is coming straight to you, and trust me, you don't want to miss a single second.